Hey guys, Captain Dylan Hubbard here at Hubbard's Marina, and we are live. Welcome to the Sunday night live stream show. Sorry for the delay there. Had a little bit of technical difficulty, but that's just par for the course this week. So, welcome to the Sunday night live show. It is Sunday night, September 29th at 7:42 p.m., and we are live with Off the Hook with Captain Hubbard. Our Sunday night live stream show is every Sunday night at 7:30 p.m. We're going to give you free stuff. We're going to talk fishing. We're going to talk weather. We're going to talk what's going on, what's coming up, and so much more. Plus, we're going to answer your questions live during the show. Do you want to win $1,500 in free stuff? This is the show. We are going to be giving away a 5-hour half day for 2, a 10-hour all day for 2, a 39-hour trip for 1, and a Hubbard's Marina swag pack as well. So lots of chances to win throughout the show. How do you win, you ask? All you have to do is comment one time on the Hubbard's Marina Facebook stream. So you can watch on YouTube, you can watch on TikTok, you can watch on Instagram, you can watch on all these different platforms. But in order to be eligible to win a free trip that we will give away live during the show, you do have to comment one time on the Hubbard's Marina Facebook stream. So make sure you go ahead and comment, and that's gonna help you to have a chance to win. Also, make sure you check out our friends over at Gator Jim's Tackle, 3301 Pinellas Point Drive South in St. Pete. If you haven't stopped by to see our friends at Gator Jim's Tackle, you're missing out. They are great people. They have a killer selection, tons of deals, an incredible, incredible shop. Again, 3301 Pinellas Point Drive South in St. Pete. Check them out and tell them Hubbard's Marina sent you. Also, we've got lots of other stuff to talk about tonight as well. Hopefully, you're excited for a good show. We've got a lot lined up for you. We've had a little bit going on this past week with Hurricane Helene. As many of you know, it has been a little bit tumultuous at Hubbard's Marina, unfortunately, with the old Hurricane Helene, but we are getting cleaned up, we are getting dried up, and we are getting ready to rock and roll. So hopefully we're going to see you very soon, and hopefully we're going to get back out on the water very soon as well, because we're getting close and things are going pretty fast for us. So we're going to talk about all of that tonight and more. Plus, we're going to go over the weather, what's going on, what's coming up, and all of that as well. So hopefully you're ready for a great show tonight, because I know I'm ready to talk fishing and to get into all things fishing. So, first things first, we're going to always start off the show by showing you the photos of what we're catching now. Then we get into the weather. Then we get into your questions. If you want your question answered live during the show, all you have to do is shoot a text message to the phone number on the screen. That's how you get your question answered live during the show. So make sure you shoot in a text message if you want your question or comment answered live during the show. Also, don't forget to check us out on all our different social media platforms. It helps us out if you follow us on TikTok, on Instagram, on YouTube, on Facebook, on Twitter, all those different places. It's super appreciated. And then finally, right before we get into the questions, we want to make sure we give a shout out to all of our supporters in our Hubbard's Marina Facebook supporters group. Josh is going to drop the link in the chat. If you want to become a supporter tonight, it is a great way to get private access to our private supporters group, and you get behind the scenes info, a little bit more communication, and of course, the supporters after show as well. So drop into the supporters club if you're interested. It is worth it. And again, only $4.99 a month. With that, we're going to get right into the show and show you photos of what we've been catching. So with that, we'll start inshore and show you photos of what's been going on this past week before the hurricane came through, of course. But fishing was really good. We're seeing a lot of those redfish. The redfish action has been super hot, and it should remain super hot even behind the storm as things calm down. They should get real excited. All that fresh water dumped into the bay, things stirred up, and things get exciting for sure. Some nice sheep's head coming around. It's that time of year. We'll see more and more sheep's head as water temperatures cool. A lot of black drum moving around our oyster bars, around those mangrove shorelines, some of the flats. You can see some sheepy action is definitely picking up. And look at this snook. this backwater big monster snook. We're seeing a lot of those snook already starting to push into the upper and back bay areas as daytime periods, photo periods get shorter. Those snooks start to retreat and get on the move, and we're seeing that quite heavily already. So snook are starting to transition, and redfish are grouping up. Sheepshead are on the move, getting more prolific. Trout are getting more excited too. The trout action always picks up this time of year as things start to change, transition. We see a lot of those trout really start to pick up too. Offshore, nearshore, not a lot to show you this week, unfortunately, with the way the weather was, but we are excited. This time of year is that time of year where we start to see more of those hogfish, and we start to see more of that action start to change nearshore and offshore, where our 10-hour starts to transition, fishing a little shallower, using more live shrimp and really targeting those hogfish. We see some nice Helene snapper, mangrove snapper mixed in there. Then offshore on the 39-hour trips, we're chasing those big amberjack. We've got nice triggerfish. We've got mangrove snapper, yellowtail snapper, and super light loads as well. So great opportunities to get out there on the water once we open back up. Right now, we are completely closed. No one is even able to access the beaches right now unless you're a resident or a business owner or business staff member with an emergency pass. So right now, access to Hubbard's Marina is closed off, but will reopen very soon, I'm sure. So we're excited. We're looking forward to that, and we are working hard to get there for sure. But with all that, let's talk about what's going on, what's coming up, and more. So we showed you the photos. Now it's time to talk a little bit about the weather. Now, we're not going to focus too much on the weather because right now we can't really take you fishing. But if you go to hubbardsmarina.com, you got this nice little note that Josh has left on the website talking about how we're closed due to Hurricane Helene and the cleanup. This little video section kind of takes you to a carousel on YouTube that'll kind of show you the destruction and also the cleanup as well. I think it's a whole playlist, right? Oh yeah, so this is the cleanup video. That's the latest one. But if you look at this one, this is the actual first day when we showed up. It was pretty chaotic. Wait, this is cleanup day. I clicked the wrong one, didn't I? That one. Ah, there it is. I knew I clicked the wrong one. Got to skip the ads. But this will play for a minute. Hopefully you guys have gotten a chance to see this already, but we are definitely impacted from Hurricane Helene. Other people much more impacted than we were, so it's hard to complain, but we definitely were excited that we are able to get our crews together and get back after cleaning up. And it's been a long road, but we've made a ton of progress already. Much of what you see here has been cleaned up, piled up, and already really looking much better. That area is completely cleaned up and organized now, but definitely was ugly to start out for sure. As you can see, the parking garage, all that good stuff. But we've got a phone call from our buddy Capt Mike, so we'll take him and then we'll finish up this conversation and talk about the weather as soon as we get our Mike update from All Things Inshore. What's going on, Capt Mike? Is he there? What's up, Mike?
What's going on with you, buddy?
Not much, brother. How are you?
What do you mean, not much? You've been a little busy.
Yeah, I've been a little busy, but not too much going on. Just, honestly, it's like Groundhog Day. It's normally like different things happen. I've got different plans. I got different meetings I got to go to. Now it's real simple. I just get my little cooler packed in the morning and get to work and start picking stuff up and building. Today I was a professional dock builder today. Me and my cousin Sam were building catwalks and swimming around and laying boards up. It was pretty fun. And at one point we're like, man, we should quit our jobs and become dock builders. We're getting pretty proficient. So, not much to answer your question. What's going on with you?
I got you. Same. Just, trying to check in with all my boys. The blessing of the TV show is, I've spent so much time up and down the west coast of Florida. I've got friends scattered, from way down south all the way up to the Panhandle. So just checking in with everybody, trying to see, make sure everybody's okay. And seems like everybody's okay, but they're like you. Everybody's doing a bunch of cleanup and, trying to piece things back together a little bit. So, you know, it's interesting for sure, to say the least. It's a interesting time when a storm that size comes through and so many people are affected. So, a little crazy.
Yeah, it's definitely been interesting to say the least, and surreal. It's strange cruising around for sure, and it's sad to see a lot of loss, a lot of impacts. But I think it's cool that the community comes together so well, and it's cool how everybody kind of bounces back from these type things. Like it reminds me, like I think we've talked about this before. If you think back to like 9/11, right? Terrible act of terror and just horrendous incident in our country. But behind that, like the communities coming together, the patriotism, there was no red, blue, yellow, white, black. It was Americans. And I feel the same sense behind incidents like this, where natural disasters come through and people really put aside their differences and just start helping each other. And we've seen that, and I've felt that cruising around on the water Friday, the morning after the storm. Boat ramps were just slam packed. They closed. The county was trying to shut us down, so they closed Bay Pines boat ramp and tried to shut boaters off from the water. So we all just moved to Jungle Parada boat ramp. Dude, you should have seen it. It was the line to launch a boat got like 2 miles long. It was nuts.
Wow.
And everybody was chill. Like there was random people showing up. Big shout out to Jeremy and his family, but other people too just showed up with coolers and drinks, helping people back in trucks, helping people park trucks. There was no parking, so at one point they were just like double parking trailers in the driveway, and when someone needed to pull in or pull out, like someone would just hop in another person's random truck and move it. It was an orchestrated, chaotic, but beautiful scene all together. And people were pulling in and dropping people off, picking people up. They were launching boats out of Jungle Parada, which, for those who aren't aware, is a very small, very cramped ramp. And it was busier than Fort DeSoto on a Saturday, on a holiday weekend. It was nuts. So it's cool. It's really cool to see that. So those are the silver linings, right? And we're all safe. Our boats made it, and we'll make it happen. We'll get back after it quick. So fishing.
Yeah, it's all we can do. All we can do. Well, I think from the fishing part of it, it's just going to take a little time for things to clean up.
Yeah.
You know, I have not been to the water, but I've had a bunch of my guys that were helping people the same way. You know, trying to get supplies and water to people on St. Pete Beach, things like that. So the guys that did launch over there in Gulfport, Jim Pollard, Julio Lima, some of them guys, and they said, man, it's pretty dirty. A lot of floating debris, a lot of things in the water. And I think that's going to be the dilemma. You know, you just don't know how long that's going to last because we haven't had this amount of storm surge on the west coast of Florida, at least that I know of, ever. So, you know, there's just going to be stuff floating. You just got to be careful. And it's not always the stuff you see on the surface. Some stuff gets waterlogged and now it's floating, you know, just below the surface. You don't get to see it. So you got to be really, really, really careful. I had a full week of stuff scheduled here, obviously, at least to this point, till Thursday. I'm off the water. I may try to splash the boat on Wednesday and go look around a little bit and see what it looks like and, you know, what's going on out there. But we'll just have to kind of wait and see how it all comes together. O'Neill's Marina got absolutely devastated. My home marina there just got wrecked. So I know a lot of the boys are going to run down there tomorrow morning and try to get in on the cleanup act and help them clean up a little bit. So, you know, it's like you said, it's a terrible scene. I've just never seen anything like it, to have so many people to call and check in on all the way up and down the west coast of Florida. You know, South Seas got wrecked again. Plantation on Crystal River, great long time friendships and partners of mine for many, many, many years now. You know, they got beat up again. It's sad to see. I was just in Cedar Key filming here within the last month. And to see the pictures and the photos of Cedar Key just absolutely crushed was heartbreaking. I got a lot of friends up in that area, so it's just, you know,
my friend,
it's just tough to see.
Like you said, your TV show enables you to meet people up and down the coast. Going to those Gulf Council meetings,
Sure.
I meet charter
Sure.
captains from around the Gulf, and our friend Jim Zubrick is up there in Steenahatchee, and his house is built to withstand 17-foot storm surge, and he had flooding in his house, 17
Wow.
feet above sea level. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, just the whole area flattened for sure. He had a semi truck and trailer in his property that was picked up and moved a couple hundred yards and flipped over by the water. So it's
Unbelievable.
It's amazing the power that nature has. And then cruising around on the boat the last 3 days. I mean, I've spent more time on the water in the last 3 days than I have in a while, and I'm very toasted for sure. But it's been beautiful to see not only the community, but also just what happens behind one of these big storms. Man, everything is stirred up. We're seeing mullet flushing. We're seeing dolphins chasing the mullet. We're seeing tons of bait. We're seeing a lot of fish busting, tarpon rolling. There is a lot of stuff floating in the water, but it seems like everything has bait around it and fish busting next to it. So it's cool to see the life coming back, and nature can be so ugly, but then at the same time we've had amazing sunrises and sunsets and just a beautiful scene out there while we're rescuing people and taking supplies back and forth and trying to clean up the utter devastation that is John's Pass for sure. So
well, and I think that we lose sight sometimes.
Yeah.
We get going. We get even myself for sure. As you've done radio with me now for a while, you can get so angry and so focused on all the negative things, and you forget.
No.
But you forget about the beauty and the strength of the American spirit.
Mm-hmm.
And it's in all of us. 9/11 proves it. Storms like this prove it. Everybody just comes together. Again, it doesn't matter where you're from or, who you're voting for. None of that stuff matters. Yeah. You're just taking care of your brothers. You're taking care of your neighbors. And the rest of it's irrelevant. And that's really something that we should stop and try to take in these times and
enjoy
and see if we can't carry it on.
Yeah.
Don't let it go away in a month when we get cleaned up. Don't let it go away in 2 months when things get cleaned up. Try to hang on to that feeling, that spirit that, makes us different than the rest of the world, in my opinion. So, yeah, it's crazy. So,
yep.
Well, keep up the good work, bro, over there. I mean, like I said, I'm not sure what to expect yet. I'm sure things will get right here. A couple of tides and some of this stuff will settle down and we'll get some of this floating debris out of the way and we'll be back at it going to work and trying to put people on some fish, good Lord willing.
Let's do it. Thanks, buddy.
All right, partner. Enjoy the show.
See you, man. Thanks.
All right, pal. See you.
Always good to hear from our friend Capt Mike and get our Inshore update. Well, normally an Inshore update. Today it was a little bit different, but definitely interesting state of affairs. All right, back to what we were talking about, weather. So as you can see here, parking garage was pretty devastated, but we are very blessed. We were able to clean this stuff up really, really fast, and it's looking so much better inside John's Pass. So definitely check out our YouTube, check out our website. You can see these videos for yourself, clicking around. It is pretty amazing to see what has happened and then how quickly it's turned around. I mean, in a matter of 48 hours behind the storm, landmark changes. Today we rebuilt an entrance to our dock. Essentially, we could put a gangway on the back of the Friendly Fisherman and start running trips tomorrow. Our office is opened. We are really, surprisingly ready to rock and roll. It's sad to see other areas, though. Other aspects of our business are definitely further impacted. And then even our own staff members. There is a dozen or more staff members that lost everything, lost their homes, lost their cars. So it's really hard to focus too much on the speed of the cleanup or trying to get back to business when other people are so impacted. And then, like Mike said, you go up the coast north of us, even bigger impacts. We saw 6-8 foot of water. This storm was 100 to 130 miles off our coast, and we only saw 6-8 foot of water. This thing didn't come within 100 miles of us. Now, as you move north, it came closer. They saw much more water. In the Big Bend, I mean, they're talking 17 foot, 18 foot of storm surge in areas. I mean, just total devastation. So huge problem for sure. But check out the YouTube. We don't want to bore you guys with these videos if you've seen them already, but if you haven't seen them yet, it's definitely cool to see. I kind of walk through and explain what I'm looking at and what's been affected. This video currently has over 1 million views on Facebook, 500,000 views on YouTube, like 200,000 views on TikTok. So the silver lining of the storm for our social media has been engagement for sure. So definitely has been a blessing in disguise in that regards. But there's the Friendly Fisherman completely leveled. That used to be a bar. That's where I ate fish growing up with my dad. We'd come in from an overnighter and go over there and eat eggs and fish and grits, and the place is gone, totally leveled, flattened, nothing left. It was crazy how far things got pushed. Stuff from the restaurant we found on the beach. We found our pinfish tank from Don's Dock on Sunset Beach, south of Suncoast Surf Shop. So that pinfish tank traveled probably about 2 to 3 miles in the water, and we found it on the beach today. We went out there with shovels, me and 4 other guys, and we put it on the back of the truck. We parked between the Nashville Fire Department and I think it was Vermont Fire Department. They were setting up their little rescue areas on the side of the road, and we just pulled the Hubbard's truck up in there. It kind of looked like it belonged between the fire trucks. We ran out there with our shovels and dug our pinfish tank up and brought it back. So it was pretty interesting how we are getting phone calls from people like, hey, I see a Hubbard's Marina sign down here, and we all get in the truck or get in a vehicle or a boat and go try to secure it. So it's been interesting, to say the least. But check out those videos. Like I said, they're right on our homepage. We're going to go back to the Hubbard's Marina website now and show you a little bit about the weather. So click fishing trips and then scroll down to the weather links. As far as weather is concerned, hoping potentially we're going to see some opening of the beaches here in a few days. Today is Sunday, so I'm thinking maybe they should start lifting some restrictions as we move into midweek. We're hoping to have power restored in the next couple days too, so potentially we could be back up and running their later work week-ish, somewhere in there, before we get more weather. That's right. We're not out of the woods yet. Hopefully we'll have things really cleaned up and nice, and we're looking forward to a nice little rinse off here coming up this upcoming weekend. You see all this yellow and orange? You know what that is? You guessed it. Another tropical system is again knocking on our doorstep. So we'll pop on over to tropicaltidbits.com through Mike's weather page, and we'll show you what we're looking at here as we move through this week. Little something starts to develop, and this is the exact same area Hurricane Helene developed as well, ironically. So exact same area, very similar system, and luckily it does not build, at least it's not forecasted to build, but unluckily it decides to go right into Tampa Bay and hang out a while, and then finally move out of the way with a low pressure that incomes. But basically it shows up around Friday, Saturday, and it takes almost Wednesday to leave. If it remains like this forecast indicates, it will just be an incredible wind maker or an incredible rain maker. Really won't be too much of a surge concern, which is nice because surge is what creates so much trouble for us. But it would be a pretty big rain event, and rain can cause inland flooding. So we are definitely keeping an eye on this guy. That was the GFS model. This is the Euro model, and the Euro model even shows something too. So interesting that models are starting to agree, which is not a good sign. Model agreement means there's model consensus, and model agreement means there is a higher likelihood of things happening. So we're keeping an eye on things for the weekend because potentially we might have another tropical impact to our area. But like I said, right now the forecast has it as a very, very, very weak system. But it does hang out for a few days, which can cause inland flooding. Big storms, huge form storms like Hurricane Helene, bring coastal flooding from storm surge. Those weak storms that hang out a long time cause more rain, which can cause more inland flooding. So the coast was all damaged and flooded from Helene. This event, if it hangs out for 5 days and dumps 15 inches of rain in a short amount of time, it can cause inland flooding. So nature was like, hold my beer, I've got another one. We hope not, at least, but hey, that's what it's looking like right now. So that's the weather. Not much good news there. Other good news, positive news, real news. November 23rd, we've got our Fishing for Hope food drive. Josh is going to drop this link in the chat. Fishing for Hope is November 23rd. We are going to be doing a food and toy drive for those less fortunate in the area to make it more easy for them to enjoy the Thanksgiving holiday. This is the Saturday preceding Thanksgiving. Again, Fishing for Hope. Hopefully we'll see you there. Josh has dropped the link in the chat. It will be talked about incessantly between now and November 23rd, but we hope to see you there. You can stop by in person and bring your food and your toys, and myself, Capt. Mike Anderson, the Old Salts, Bill Miller, many others will be there to help unload your vehicle for you. So check that out for sure. Fishing for Hope, that is again Saturday, November 23rd. We'll do the radio show that morning, then we'll head straight over there from the radio station. Typically kicks off around 9:30 in the morning, and we're there till about 1 o'clock. So stop on by that Saturday morning and say hello and bring in some food or some toys. We're going to have more information coming as well. And then also October 8th, we've got an event coming up Tuesday night, October 8th at Bartow Ford. We're going to be giving away free food. We've got a free Bull Bay rod to give away, a free Angle cooler to give away. We got real animal swag. We've got some other stuff to give away too. Captain Travis Thompson, myself, and Capt. Mike will all three be there. Captain Bobby Woodard should show up as well, maybe even Mike Mahoney. So lots of great times, lots of great talking, and a good time talking yes on 2, voting yes on 2, that Amendment 2 coming up in the Florida State Constitution, hopefully making our current privilege, statutory privilege to hunt and fish, a constitutional right. That is the goal of voting yes on 2, to make your right to hunt and fish a constitutional right. So definitely make sure you register to vote and get out there and vote yes on 2. Now, we've talked about what's going on now. We talked about what we're catching. We showed you the weather. We've talked about our announcements. Now it's time to get into your questions. So if you have a question you want answered live during this show, text the phone number on the screen, your question. But before we do that, it is time to give away our first free trip of the night. Remember, we got a 5-hour for 2 to give away, a 10-hour for 2 to give away, a 39-hour trip for 1 to give away, and a Hubbard's Marina swag pack as well. So if you want a chance to win any of that free stuff we talked about, make sure you comment one time on the Hubbard's Marina Facebook stream. Then you have to watch live, and if you're picked as one of the lucky winners, you see your name appear on screen. You've got 5 minutes or less to text us your full home address to the phone number on the screen. That's how it works. That's how you enter. That's how you claim it. It's time to find out who's our first winner of the night. Let's give away our 5-hour half day for 2 guests. First, let's see, the lucky winner is Doug Mays from Lutz. Congrats, Doug. You've got 5 minutes or less to shoot us your full home address. We'll get that certificate to you in the mail in about 2 weeks. It'll take us a while, bud. We are currently closed. But when we reopen, we'll get that certificate out to you in the mail if you send your full home address within 5 minutes. All right. Let's see, what questions do we have? Oh, someone did ask if there's a donation link or a GoFundMe, that kind of thing. As I mentioned, we have about a dozen staff, maybe more, who have lost everything, lost their home. I know one staff member left their home with a single bag and in tow, and they went to their family's house, and their family's house flooded too, and they ended up on the roof of their family's house with their family and a small child. Just a horrific incident for them. Other staff members lost their car, their boat, their house. It's definitely ugly. So yes, we are going to launch a GoFundMe, and 100% of the proceeds are going to be going to those staff members. We're going to split it up between our staff members who are affected. So stay tuned for that. Josh is going to launch a whole thing on the website tomorrow. Is it going to be a special page, or will it be right on the homepage? It'll be its own page, but it will be linked right on the homepage there with the videos and stuff. So stay tuned and check the Hubbard's Marina website tomorrow for updates on that. We'll have that GoFundMe launched, and also we're going to have a list of donation locations in the area around our community. Multiple different community members have launched initiatives to collect donations, food, water, other hurricane supplies that people need. There's a lot of people cut off still. There's a lot of areas of Madeira Beach still closed to access. And then even areas that are open to access, people are just impacted, right? They don't have access to their cash. A lot of people are just locked in there. And a lot of people have lost everything and just don't have the financial wherewithal to really recover right now. So we want to help out the local community and list those donation locations. So you'll be able to stop by, drop off food, water, and other supplies we'll have listed there for you, or you can donate to the GoFundMe page and help out our Hubbard's Marina staff members who were impacted for sure. So yes, we will have that available. It's going to launch tomorrow, and it will be on the homepage of our website. That's how you find it. How high, first question, how high was the storm surge there at Madeira Beach? So there was areas like Don's Dock where it was basically to my neckline. There was other areas of John's Pass where it was to my chest, other areas where it's like to my waist, and I'm 6'7". So, I mean, we definitely saw every bit of around 6 foot of storm surge, if not more. I would say probably closer to 8 foot, because if it was up to my neck and I'm 6'7", that's about 6 foot of storm surge, but I'm standing on land. It had to come 2 or 3 feet up to make it over the seawall and then make it 6 foot to my neck, right? So definitely saw a solid 6 foot, but I would say more like 8 foot, maybe even 9 foot in areas. I mean, it was horrendous amount of surge. Don's Dock is okay. Don's Dock, a seafood market building. The building is there, but everything inside was destroyed. The outside was completely destroyed. HM East, we affectionately call it, our little t-shirt shop in the main drag of John's Pass, that has never flooded in any flood event we've had. Hurricane Ada, Hurricane Idalia, never flooded. 6 foot of storm surge from Tropical Storm Ada. Got right up to the door, but didn't actually flood that store. That store had 4 foot of water in it. My sister said it was like 3 foot, but I think it was more closer to 4 foot. You'll see the video from today, and you decide. But it was destroyed, completely destroyed, filled with this sludgy, nasty, gunky water. Ate up all our computers, all electronics. So all electronics, all computers fried in HM East and in Don's Dock. Our main location at Hubbard's Marina, the dock is destroyed, leveled. But our main office pretty well survived. Luckily, everything worked there. Our hurricane preparations really did a great job. So Hubbard's Marina's main office, pretty good, apart from some sand, some puddles, and some drying out that we're going to have to do. So that's positive news. Our Gulfport location, good to go. Didn't see any flooding. Our Seminole location, where we're sitting tonight, good to go as well. So overall, our Fort DeSoto location, pretty well destroyed, but boats all survived. All our people survived. So there's silver linings for sure. How did you keep your vessels secure from Hurricane Helene? A little bit of luck, a lot of prayers, a great team, and good preparations. Definitely helped a lot. But ultimately, the Flying Hub 2 was in dry dock, so it was already out of the water, luckily, and it survived up on blocks in a parking lot where it was at dry dock. The Hub Capt 49, which runs our 3-hour Shell Key Shelling trip, also was in dry dock, also happened to be out of water. perfectly safe. Our Egmont Key Ferry was tied between 2 floating docks at Fort DeSoto's boat ramp. Was about 6 inches from the dock going over the pillars, and that boat floating into the Gulf of Mexico, probably never to be seen again. Luckily, it didn't though. Luckily, this just came up to the top of the pillars, and that dock came back down. No injuries. The boat was good. The Hub, the Dolphin boat, and the Shell Key boat all went over there behind Madeira Beach Cantina in the back of a canal, all webbed in there with some other boats. Luckily survived with floating docks and a lot of good preparation. The 2 big boats, the Friendly Fisherman and Florida Fisherman, stayed inside the bay, out around the corner behind Treasure Island, tucked in there, and both saw some pretty crazy events, but we had crew members and captains on both boats who heroically weathered the storm and kept them safe. So we'll have video coming very soon. Hopefully, if not tonight, later on tomorrow. Minutes. We have video coming of the weather from the boats. So definitely stay tuned for our YouTube channel for that, because you don't want to miss it. It'll be pretty interesting for sure. So then what's our next question here? Oh, is this us dock building? This is already up?
The new video just came out.
Oh, new video came out today. Just now?
Just now.
Oh, cool. Yeah, we were building the dock. See? You saw the dock destruction, and now you can see in YouTube. I told you today we were talking about wanting to speed it up. Perfect. That's a good idea. I told you today that we were so good at this, we wanted to become professional dock builders. Well, this is it. This is real live action. Swimming around and hanging out with my cousin. And you can see from the video we just showed you, the dock was all torn up and ripped up. But after this, we got it all put back together. We're able to make a catwalk to actually access the Friendly Fisherman. And this is east that I was talking about, that sludgy water. Definitely not a great situation. A lot of stuff on the walls kind of destroyed. This store was beautiful. It was gorgeous, and unfortunately has definitely been impacted. This was us eating a bunch of seafood, and this, look at that finished catwalk. It does look professional. I mean, come on. Where's that start of that? I want to see the full impact. So that's the Reese's pie we were eating. It was really good. We had steak, mushrooms. Oh, look at it. Pause it. Oh, look at that catwalk. That's a sexy looking dock, guys. Boom. We can do it. That was Captain Sal cutting the boards. Captain Dave, the dolphin boat captain, cutting the boards with Captain Sal, our charter boat captain. That was my cousin Sam and myself and Skipper. 5 people. And Scott, our Shell Key Ferry crew member. So definitely some ingenuity from folks who are not great at building docks. All of a sudden became pretty decent at it. We're going to finish the rest of this tomorrow, and then the professionals should be stepping in. But at least we have a working platform so we can access the boats and continue our cleanup endeavors inside John's Pass. So this video just launched, plus, like I mentioned, the video from the boat will launch too. Oh, here's Hubbard's Marina's main office. So as I mentioned, pretty well survived. I mean, dirty floor, but easy to clean up. You can see really no flooding impacts inside this shop. We seal it with these metal doors. We spray foam it shut, and then we put these gaskets on the metal doors so really no water can get in. Unfortunately, water comes in from underneath the walls, but the whole floor is designed to slope towards a drain, a sump pump, and that pump keeps the floors pretty much dry, but it does flood. But because the pump is there, the pump keeps up, and essentially it doesn't flood. So this area was below 8 foot of water, but essentially didn't flood because all the windows and doors were sealed, shut, foamed in, and survived. So pretty cool. So great question. All right, what's our next question? Is there any way to help you guys with storm damage? So a lot of people have asked, and a lot of people have texted, and a lot of people have inquired about coming down and helping clean up and do all that kind of stuff. We appreciate it, and we would love to have everybody be able to come out there, but right now it is inaccessible unless you have an emergency access pass proving you work on the beach or you have an ID showing you live there. They are going to very shortly they're very shortly going to lift those restrictions, and when they lift those restrictions, the beach is going to be chaos. Everybody and their brother wants to come out there and look and see what happens, and the traffic gets really bad. It gets congested. Once that happens, they lift the restrictions, the traffic gets congested and bad. It gets hard, difficult to clean up because cars are pulling in and looking and wanting to talk and ask questions. Once that dies down, then we'll actually really be able to kind of get back into things, and that's when we'll be able to kind of have volunteers come out. So stay tuned to our daily updates. We're trying to put together a video a day, essentially, to let you know how the day went, what we're working on, what we got done, and we'll keep you informed. And unfortunately, that is going to be the best way to kind of stay tuned for updates. All right, trying to fish later this week inside 100 foot. Your thoughts? Basically, it is up to you. You're gambling a little bit. I think those fish got stirred up a little bit. Seas, we saw, I think, 24-foot seas at one point. So the water is stirred up. So I would say inside 100 foot, it's probably going to take a few more days. I would say at least 2 more days for the water to kind of calm down and clear up enough for those fish to start chewing. I would say. That would be my guess. You guys, thank you very much for the kind words about our crew. With all the sand in the roads, how did the sand issues affect by the water? Essentially, what happened is all the sand got blown down to the beach. We have more sand in Johns Pass than ever, and then what sand was on our beach is now in our parking lot. And the same thing up and down our Gulf beaches. Almost every beach is inundated with sand in the roadways because the water came up, the waves crashed on the beach, and the waves continue to crash, and they pushed all the beach sand to the east into and over Gulf Boulevard. So it is the price we pay to live in paradise, live where people vacation. It is definitely one of those things. So many people leave these nasty comments like, oh, that's what you get for building on the beaches. Mother Nature wants her beaches back, and sand's going to overtake the beach, of course. So we get a lot of nasty comments like that, unfortunately. But it's true. Barrier islands are just that, barrier islands, and we have artificially reinforced them with seawalls. So when these acts of God occur, it is no surprise that we get a lot of sand that we have to deal with. So kind of hard to complain about it too much. It's the price of living in paradise, as I say, but it's a slow, steady process, cleaning up, shoveling sand out. We've got a skid steer now. Capt Joe killed it today, riding that skid steer around and shoveling our roads free. Tomorrow, by the end of the day or so, we should pretty much have mounded up all the sand in the parking lot. He is building one heck of a sand castle in the parking lot for sure. So we'll bring you more video on that tomorrow, so stay tuned. You think everything will be somewhat open by the end of the month? Definitely. Like I said, I think hopefully we'll be running trips by the end of this week. So I would imagine, by the end of this month, meaning like end of September, that would be a push. I would say by the end of this week would be a very positive timeline. So maybe like the 3rd, 4th, 5th would be a very positive timeline on potentially being running trips again. Maybe 2 weeks for everything. That would be my guess. So that's what I'm hopeful for. I know you guys have a lot of damage from the hurricane. I pray everything gets back to normal soon. Thank you, guys. Thank you for the kind words, Terry. When can we book a trip? You can book a trip whenever you want. If you want to be able to rebook a trip, our office isn't open. We're unfortunately dealing with a lot of damage, so we will be unable to help you rebook trips until we reopen. But you can book trips now on our website. If you want to book a trip, you definitely can, for sure. What do you mean by the crew riding out the storms on the big boats? Like, I mean, the crew rode out the storm on the boat. So we had a captain and crew on the Florida fishermen in the back bay waters during the storm, and the same with the friendly fishermen as well. Back in the day, they used to have whole hordes of folks. My dad was talking about Hurricane Helena? Or Lena, maybe. There was like 28 people on the Florida fishermen because the community felt safer on the boats because you don't lose power. We have a generator. We have hot food. We have cold drinks. You have showers. You have bathrooms. So really, back there in the back protected bay waters, you don't have rough seas. You're just dealing with the same wind that you would be dealing with if you were in a house, except for you don't lose power. You don't lose the ability to go to the bathroom or anything like that, or take a shower, that kind of thing. So, depends on how you look at things, right? But it was definitely a harrowing experience, for sure. Let's see. What's the situations with utilities? We've got power. We don't have power, but we have water, and we're slowly getting everything back up and running. Boats' slips did not fill up with sand. All our boats are back at the dock. Everything's looking pretty good. A lot of sand there, but we've made big holes before the storm because we knew we were going to get a lot of sand. Those holes filled in a little bit, but because we did a lot of good preparation, boats are back at the dock, no problem. Can you still fish the pass if you can access the pass? Right now, no one is allowed on the beach unless you are a resident or you have proof that you work in the area and have an emergency access pass. So you can fish the pass, of course, if you can get there. Right now, the beaches are closed. When can we rebook a trip? A lot of people ask him when we can rebook a trip. You can book a trip on our website whenever. In order to call our office and talk to us on the phone, we have to be open. Right now, we don't have power. So if we don't have power, we don't have internet, we don't have an office open to answer your phone calls, unfortunately. But you can book online whenever you want. And then as soon as we have power back on, we'll be able to reopen our office. Let's see, what other questions do we have? What's this?
32 feet.
No, this is a forecast. A lot of people keep sending me Windfinder forecast links. That is a forecast. That is simply a forecast. It's not a wave reading or measurement. But I saw wave measurements in 48 foot in certain areas. I was talking specifically about in our area, like off of Pulley Ridge down there, and like that deeper part of Pulley Ridge, there's a buoy, and it got knocked out by the storm. But right before it got knocked out, it recorded a 48-foot wave, which is crazy. Up in our area, it's a lot shallower. So like that northern middle grounds buoy, I think it's a 106 nautical mile buoy is the name on Windfinder. It showed some crazy forecasted wave height, but what it actually records is much different. So I look at the NOAA buoys, the actual data from the buoy, instead of the forecasts. All right, we did the 5-hour trip. Let's go ahead and do our Hubbard's Marina swag pack giveaway. We'll try to knock out some more questions here. Hubbard's Marina swag pack giveaway. Remember to text us your full home address within 5 minutes and your t-shirt size so we can give you that free swag pack in the mail. Lucky winner is David Pruitt. Congratulations, my man. Winner of the Hubbard's Marina swag pack. Remember to text us your full home address to prove you're watching live. All right, let's see. Do you guys need barrels? I'm able to get a bunch of 55, 35, and 32-gallon barrels. We always need barrels. Always. It was funny. Behind the storm, all that wreckage, we filmed that video, and a local business was like, hey, that's our barrel with the ropes tied in there. That's ours. That was over at our company. And I had to politely tell them, no, we make those barrels ourselves. That rope we tie ourselves. That's our duct tape. If you had it at your business, it was one of our barrels that got borrowed and never returned. So it's been funny, the John's Pass drama. We found a lot of different businesses have been absconding with our ice barrels. And that's probably why we always need barrels, because we seemingly are always running low on barrels. Barrels and 5-gallon buckets. are two items that are sometimes difficult to procure. We always need more of. So if you got 5-gallon buckets, a surplus, or barrels, we could always use them. Is this the hardest the pass has ever been hit? Yes. Hurricane Helene was before my time. It was, I think, the 80s, late 80s, like 87, 88, 89, somewhere in there. My dad talks about it all the time as the worst flooding event we've experienced. Hurricane Idalia was pretty bad for us. Tropical Storm Eta was real bad for us. This storm was Tropical Storm Eta and Tropical Storm Idalia added together, and then maybe added a little bit more on top of that too. This was definitely 100%, hands down, 1,000% the worst storm our area has seen impacts from as far as surge is concerned in my lifetime. Hurricane Irma brought us higher winds, but it was east of us, so it pushed water away from us. We had about 110 mile an hour gusts during Hurricane Irma. This storm only brought us about 74 mile an hour gusts, which is high, but not crazy high winds. And it didn't bring much rain. We only had maybe like 4 inches, 5 inches of rain, so not a lot of rain for sure. But definitely a tough situation as far as surge is concerned. I want to offer my services when you guys need them. Yeah, I would love to have your offer services, but again, right now everything is closed to the beaches. When they do open the beaches, it gets crazy busy. And then once that all calms down and clears up, we'll be able to kind of open it up. So stay tuned to our social media pages, and we'll keep you up to date. Local, let's see. A lot of people asking how to help. We appreciate it. The best way to help will be to stay tuned to our social media, help share the messages we're sharing every day, comment, like, interact, and then stay tuned when we're able to accept volunteer efforts. We'd love to have you. And then also the best way to help out as well is to help give back to the community through the outreach that we're going to be launching tomorrow. Josh, like I said, is going to create a special page of our website where we're going to be listing the local areas where you can show up and bring food, drinks, other supplies. And then also we're going to launch that GoFundMe for folks affected, our staff members affected, and all the proceeds will go to them. We'll just split it up among them. Let's see here. We've been, missed that one. No worries. Just show me the next one. If we can get out there and an islander does not want our help or volunteers to clean up. Unfortunately, right now, again, can't emphasize it enough, no one can access the beaches. So appreciate everybody asking and wanting to show up, but right now you can't access the beaches. So stay tuned to our messages, and we'll help you out. Lots of kind messages. I think these are getting old, September 28th, so let's focus on the newer ones. There we go. Did we answer all the new ones? Is Captain Mike okay? Yeah, Captain Mike Anderson is okay. His boat was out of the area. He lives in Tampa, so his house was fine. His boat was fine. His marina that he launches from, not so great, but he can launch his boat elsewhere in the interim for sure. In a hurricane like this, the area is never seen. How long would it take Gulfport to return to normal ways of life? It depends. I mean, it depends on how hard areas are hit. Madeira Beach, Treasure Island were pretty decimated, and I think it's going to take at least a few more days for things to kind of get open back up fully, and I think it's going to take a few more days for it to recover as far as getting power back on. So I would say at least a week before we'll be able to get up and running fully. Let's see, how long before the redfish come back to the mangroves after the storm? I would say right now things are so stirred up. Those fish, those redfish are definitely on the move. But once things normalize behind these storms, not only does the wind have to calm down, the seas have to calm down, but then also you have to wait until the water kind of gets back to normal. You have to get back to a little bit of homeostasis. Right now we're in a state of flux. We have real crazy salinity levels because we got a bunch of rain dumped. We had these big wind event, lots of seas, lots of surge. So everything kind of surged and then is now retracting and getting back to normal. So as things normalize, the fish will kind of get back into their routines and start feeding a little bit better for sure. So I would just say hold on and wait a few days and it will start to get back up and running. That's a good question. Is FEMA going to help with the cleanup? The federal government does nothing with any speed at all. FEMA is notoriously terrible at responding quickly to anything. The state does a much better job. The city does the best job. Smaller municipalities, smaller local governments always are more nimble and working faster. But the fastest possible entities, private business. Private business always wins. Government's always going to be slower. And the bigger the government, the slower it moves. Guaranteed, no ifs, ands, buts about it. So no, FEMA sucks, and it's going to take forever for them to do anything, and they will not help at all. If we waited for FEMA to help, we'd be open in 3 years. Private business, our team, our Hubbard's Marina family, our Hubbard's Marina community, all of you asking right now, can I come volunteer? I mean, we see the outpouring of support from the community. We've seen it from our team. We've all come together. I mean, we're getting things done. Like I said jokingly earlier, we could almost run a half-day trip tomorrow. So private business is always going to be the one to get it done. All right. Will red tide be a concern? Red tide is always a concern. What do you need for red tide to happen? You need the presence of the algae. You need the water salinity levels to be right. And you need the presence of the food. We have tons of the presence of the food. There has been countless sewage spills. Even prior to this hurricane event, there was countless sewage spills, and then all the storm surge and this hurricane made it even more apparent, and more food in the water from the whole area getting sloughed off with the surge. Everything that was on the coast definitely got pushed even further into the water. So yeah. Food is there. Presence of the algae is always there. It's a naturally occurring algae that happens in the surface of the Gulf of Mexico, and any onshore wind pushes the algae against the coast. And when the algae is pushed against the coast, if there's food there, if the salinity level is right, it can bloom. Well, what happened? We had a west wind. We had an wind. That's what caused the surge. So you can guarantee any presence of the algae in the Gulf of Mexico is now along the coast. Then you have this huge surge that goes inland and then comes back, sloughing off all that road dirt, all those nitrogen-rich chemicals, all that sewage, and now you have the presence of the food. As far as the right salinity levels, you've got a bunch of rain, it mixes all in, it lowers the salinity, you've got these pockets of high salinity, low salinity, all that. So yeah, you have all the variables you need to have a red tide outbreak. Hopefully it doesn't happen, but yes, potentially can happen, and essentially always has happened behind big hurricanes. Hurricane Irma caused huge red tide. Hurricane Ian caused huge red tide. Hurricane Helene, we'll see. Hurry up and wait has been our famous motto of the last couple days. Have your boats been out into deep water yet? The deepest the boats have been since the storm has been about 9 foot of water. No, they have not left the dock. Right now there's a lot of stuff in the water too, so if we were to leave the dock, it would have to be very timidly and carefully. But we'll be paying attention for sure, and hopefully we'll be leaving the dock soon. All right, time for another giveaway. We've done our 5-hour, we've done the swag pack. Let's go ahead and do the 10-hour all-day giveaway. 10-hour all-day trip for 2 guests. Lucky winner is Marcus Morgan from Grand Rapids, Michigan. Congratulations, Marcus. You got 5 minutes or less to text us your full home address to the phone number on the screen. That's how you enter, or that's how you claim your free trip and prove you're watching live. Do storms like hurricanes dissipate red tide? A lot of people think that or say that. In my experience, no. In my experience, it only concentrates and focuses blooms. I've never seen a red tide be simmering and a hurricane come by and cure the problem. I've only ever seen a hurricane come by and then a huge red tide outbreak happens. Generally, that happens often. But this hurricane made landfall further north, and further north might help. I mean, Hurricane Irma, Hurricane Ian both made impact in southwest Florida, where there's a lot of issues with water quality already, and maybe this one will be different. Hopefully, this one will be different. Because we don't need any more natural disasters. Do you think the hurricane will bring gags closer like last year? Yes, 100%. This storm, again, had 25-foot seas in the middle grounds. So we saw some big waves in the Gulf. When big weather events happen, the fish act just like you and I. They go and they take shelter. So that storm was coming in, that barometer was dropping, those fish sensed the incoming low pressure. They ran to the biggest structure and they hunkered down in the deepest, darkest holes they could find. That storm came through, shook everything up, displaced everything. Water quality and water clarity went down, and now those fish are waiting for things to kind of get back to normal. And then once things kind of get back to normal, those fish come out of their holes and they get excited. And they start feeding actively, and they get back to business, just like you and I. Right now, everybody's in cleanup mode. They're all out of routine. We're all kind of shook up. I can't remember where my car keys are most of the time. And then in a few days, things will kind of normalize. We'll get back into our routines and then start to get back into normal habits. So just like the fish. Bioluminescence, great question. Bioluminescence is not a precursor to red tide. They are not connected, and bioluminescence is seemingly a pretty big event this year. It is always naturally occurring. Josh, can you pull up YouTube and Google bioluminescence, and maybe we can show a cool video of bioluminescence. Bioluminescence is, again, a naturally occurring it's an organism. It's not an algae. So this is a cool video. So this is a bioluminescence example. This is a surfer, and it is an organism. It is not an algae. I'm 99.9% sure on that. But you can see the wave. It looks like it's glowing. So it's when disturbed, it emits a glow. That would be so cool to surf in it. I'm so super jealous of that guy. But it's a really cool bluish color. There's certain areas of our state that have it more frequently or more regularly, especially in areas in the Caribbean, can have it almost year-round. In the Tampa Bay area, it's pretty rare, but it's almost always around. And then in certain times of year, we see it more frequently. And in certain times, we see it more concentrated in certain areas. I've seen it before in Bogosiega Bay, cruising on my skiff. I'll never forget it. One night, me and my buddies, we were out snook fishing, and all of a sudden we kind of noticed the water was glowing a little bit, and we had this little island over in the this island that has a cove in it in the back bay there in Upper Bogosiega Bay. We went over there, and the snook were covered up in this cove, and dolphins were chasing the snook, and everything was covered in bioluminescence. So the snook were glowing, the dolphins chasing them were glowing, and dude, we pulled up to the beach and just sat on the sand and watched it. It was like watching a movie. It was crazy. So yes, definitely happens often in our area. It's naturally occurring. It is not a precursor to red tide and is in no way connected to red tide. If you get a chance to see it, take advantage of it. If you go on a hotel or you go on vacation and they're like, oh, bioluminescence tour, take it. It's pretty cool. You won't regret it for sure. If you are in the need of volunteers to help clean up this weekend, we appreciate it. We're going to get there. We're going to get there. So stay tuned. Is the Double Eagle still run out of Johns Pass? No, out of Clearwater. And Clearwater has another party boat Queen Fleet and Double Eagle is out of Clearwater. There's some other party boats around the area for sure, and a lot of people do it, party boat fishing. What we do is not unique. There's a lot of dolphin tours around. There's a lot of fishing boats around. But I like to think we're unique in the fact that we're family owned and operated. We're the original and longest running, and we guarantee an excellent client experience with superior guest service, and I personally stand behind that. So I think that's what separates us. A lot of people can take you fishing, but we will take you fishing and guarantee you have an excellent client experience with superior guest service. And we were the #1 charter boat rated in the United States of America for 3 years in a row by USA Today. Pretty cool. All right, so next question. We got time for maybe one more. We already talked about that. I think we covered pretty much everything. All right, so with that, we will let this thing roll on. Man, there's a lot of messages in here. A lot of kind words texted to us. Appreciate you guys. Hopefully everybody enjoyed the show tonight. A little bit of a unique show, but hopefully next week we'll be talking about some fishing trips we did, and hopefully we will take you fishing very soon. Also, don't forget, October 8th, Tuesday night, 6 to 8 p.m., Bartow Ford. Hopefully we see you there for that. Again, mark your calendars, November 23rd for Fishing for Hope, and then check back on our website tomorrow for more videos, and then also those donation locations and that GoFundMe fundraiser that we're going to launch for all the staff members who were flooded or impacted, and definitely appreciate all of your supports. Thanks for being supporters as well. For those of you in our supporters group, we appreciate you guys. Again, it's only $4.99 a month. You get private access to our private page and that private supporters after show. So check it out. And then finally, we want to make sure we give a shout out to our giveaway sponsor. We had someone come on board as a partner of our live show, along with, of course, our friends at Gator Jim's Tackle who make the show possible. So check out our friends Gator Jim's Tackle, 3301 Pinellas Point Drive South in St. Pete. And our last announcement of the night is our friends over at Innovative Pools and Spa. They bring 35 years experience to building pools in the Tampa Bay area, and they continue the legacy of their father's company, which was recognized as a top pool builder in the Tampa Bay area for, again, 35 years. Plus, they raise the bar in pool construction, and they're dedicated to making sure their guests have an incredible experience, and they have an unparalleled passion for the industry. So check them out and call them today, 727-788-1650, or visit them online at innovativepoolsandspa.net for an estimate to see why Innovative Pools and Spa are the top choice for our local area. So check it out. Definitely good people over there at Innovative Pools and Spa, and of course Gator Jim's Tackle as well. So thanks for watching. Hopefully we'll see you again next week for another episode. Every Sunday night, 7:30 p.m., we talk fishing, we answer your questions, we show you photos, we give you announcements, and we give you $1,500 in free stuff. So thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for being a part of our Hubbard's Marina family. Don't forget to vote yes on 2. And let's find out who won our 39-hour fishing trip for one lucky winner. 39-hour trip for one goes to Betty Duffy. Congratulations, Betty. You got 5 minutes or less to text us your full home address to prove you're watching live. We'll see you tomorrow online, live again. And hopefully we'll see you next week for another episode of the live stream show. Thanks for watching. We would be doing some live videos, by the way, from John's Pass, but our cell phone reception is terrible. I think some cell phone towers must have gotten taken out or something like that. So once our cell phone reception gets back to normal, we'll be doing our live videos again. But until then, you're stuck with our recorded videos posted to our YouTube and our Facebook and all that. So tune in, stay tuned, follow us on all our social medias. We'll see you next week for another episode. Don't forget, if you're too busy to go fishing, you're just too darn busy, or maybe Hubbard's Marina is closed due to a massive hurricane. Good night.